Hello, my friends. So, I have a couple things I want to share with you. Um, First of all, I made a drawing to explain the way I seen the land formation when I went to the monolith, okay? So, this is this is the best way I can describe it. It seems like there's a rectangular shape. So so you see how that's jutting out there up? And so when I was showing the slope, it's even more gradual than this. It might even be, but I just drew it for a little bit of emphasis, okay? And then this other piece that's beside, it's almost like I wonder if this broke off or it's hard to tell. And this is hard. I mean, so where they made that fire break road, okay? I mean, they're going over it with a huge bulldozer and it stayed elevated. So, like, it's hard because if it was soft, they would have just bulldozed it. It would have just, you know, and so it's already excavated. I just gotta wait for the snow to melt. And so I actually think that I'm just gonna draw it. What we're gonna find is like it's like perhaps like that. It's a rectangle, a square or rectangle, not sure, depends on how. And that it when it fell, it tipped, or maybe there was an earthquake or land movement and it had fallen flat, and then the earth changes because so much time has gone by and it's lifted. It's possible. But the other thing that's noteworthy is the boggy. This is all this black spruce, and the water is coming towards it and cannot. And so then what's happening is it's pooling and it's draining towards the river. And so there's this crevasse, a gully where there's water coming down. And so it's like that monolith is there and it's stopping the water flow. And it's so there's definitely indication that it's hard because also the the fact that the pine trees there are growing so spaced out, okay? But if it was just gravel, I've seen where pine can grow as thick too if the roots can go down. So because there's only some large trees very spaced out, it would seem that they're able to grow because of the good drainage, but there's not enough soil depth for lots of trees to grow. So that's why to me it's a strong indication that it is a physically solid formation. So that's, oh man, I just get so excited about it. But what I want to talk to you about is because I had to think about this for a few days. And in some of my other videos, I explained the way I get messages. Okay. So, like, remember my dream with the wooden heart, and then physically, literally, in this reality, during waking time with my family, we found the equivalence of a wooden heart. And, like all my stories, okay? So if you haven't seen my other stories, please watch 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because it'll really help you understand um, the way I get literal information. Okay, so other people, I do see, like, I do get thoughts and pictures in my mind. So I've been really thinking a lot about what happened when my husband called me. Because first of all, I want to stress my husband doesn't, it's very out of the ordinary for my husband to call me during the workday because he knows I'm outside and most of the time I don't answer my phone. I often don't carry my phone. I have broken so many cell phones on the farm. So, but I did bring my phone with me this time to be safe, of course. Okay, so when I was standing exactly on that monolithic line where the fire break is when he called me. Okay. And so, in thinking about the information that came through, I then began to do some research. And I think it was very significant. He used some key words. And for me, this is how my messages come. Okay. He used the word charge. He said, he was, concerned about a charge on his visa. So the word charge, energy, positive. Then he also said he was concerned about his visa being hacked. But then when I'm thinking about that, it's like, oh yeah, but there's also a term called biohacking. And biohacking is not negative. It's like people are learning how to enhance our bodily functions and our health without pharmaceuticals, like so with breath work and oxygen chambers and exercise and certain particular substances and nutrients and positive like biohacking, okay, like brainwave states and all of that. That's biohacking. Okay, so then the next one was the particular new supplement I had been prompted to order just the night before. And when I think back on that, I went, okay, that was really interesting. So it was this nitric oxide. Yeah. And that is a substance that our body can produce, okay, that allows all our veins, capillaries, and everything, the muscles, to be flexible, okay? So when the blood is flowing, like our veins can open and shrink, okay? And as we age, they can become restricted. And also if we suffer from deficiencies, which I've learned about now, which I'm going to explain. Okay, so the nitric oxide, which is what he called me about, enhances blood flow, okay? But being with me and I'm always looking for the metaphor. In some of my much earlier videos, I talk about the very strong symbolism of the Bible and what the lifeblood mentioned in Genesis with the rainbow covenant with Noah represents. And the Bible has chosen to have blood be the symbol for our soul, our nephesh, the life force, the conscious life force of our being, okay, is symbolized by the blood. And then I went, oh, okay, so if there was a metaphorical message in that conversation, okay, then is it that just like our physical veins can become restricted, okay, is it that also our entire body, our physical body, can become restricted so that our life force, our nephesh, our soul force cannot flow through our body as easily, okay? Which would be the energy, the life force energy. And when I thought that, immediately, I just had this aha. I knew it's this feeling I get. So I started to research it. And I'm going to post a link to a really good TED Talk by a very famous professor and scientist. And she was explaining the importance and how the electricity functions, how our body makes electricity and uses electricity, like positive charge and negative charge, okay? Now, before I explain that, I'm going to share that just in the last, I don't know if it was the day after, I think it was the night after I had gone to the monolith. So just, I've had these kind of confused, dreams that I've wondered about, right? And now I think I understand. I get these dreams periodically about a house that is cluttered, okay? And so here I was, I wake up, I become lucid in this dream, and I'm in a tiny house, and there's some kind of predator in there, which was like a black bear or something, and it was kind of marauding around, and I was like, ooh, I got to get out of here, or I got to get away from it. But the house was so cluttered, just like a hoarder, and there was piles. It wasn't just spread out, okay? This clutter was in piles, and it was dusty, and there was just these little pathways around in the house, and I was able to go around and kind of go up on a pile by a vent. There was a vent, and it was like I was trying to get fresh air, and I was looking around, and I was like, why is this house so cluttered, you know? And you could still move around, but it was a real nuisance. And then I seen this little doorway off of that room, and I went in. It was like a little porch. And when I went into it, it was really interesting. There was a young girl, like a teenage girl, and she had her back turned to me, and she was not happy. She was like, she was just like kind of, and the room felt cold. Like it wasn't warm, but there was this little fire going, like a furnace, but it wasn't producing enough heat to really heat the space. Okay. So just hold that dream and now come to what I'm going to tell you. I believe that dream was an illustration for me, for my conscious side, to understand what's happening in my body and in my cells and all of our cells. And I believe what's coming is a very large energetic burst from the earth. And I think what we need to do, because we are in the 7 weeks now from Passover to Pentecost. And on Pentecost in the Bible, when the early church was, there's a big downpouring of Holy Spirit, okay? Which I believe is the life force energy, okay? And possibly, if our body is too toxified and cluttered with debris, it will be harder for our body to assimilate the Holy Spirit or the life force energy. That's what I believe this message is about. So what I want to explain, what I'm doing and learning about, and I will keep sharing with you. So first of all, what I learned, which blew my mind because I didn't know this, our sun, okay, not our sun, sorry. The sun, when it shines on our skin, helps our body synthesize sulfur, okay, into sulfate, which is super important. Sulfur, calcium, and phosphorus are the 3 highest concentrations of minerals in the human body. Now, what's important, what she was explaining about the way the cell works, which I also didn't know, is there's a differential of positive charge and negative charge with the cell. And she was explaining that the toxins, okay, the debris, whatever, are held inside the cell. And they need negative charged ions of sulfur and other negative charge, which sulfur does. Sulfur, our body turns it into sulfate, and the sulfate creates the negative charge. And then there are these little doorways where those negative charges come in, okay? And the toxins, turns out, needs negative charge. So the cell can, eject it, poop it out. And if the negative charge is not strong enough, our cells can't clean the house. And I was like blown away. And it has to do with this positive charge and negative charge. And the sulfur is essential for this. Essential. Okay. Wow. So start getting sun. Okay. So she also explained that there's this very, very important molecule our body forms to facilitate the transformation of the sulfur into this negative charge state of sulfate. Okay, we have to do not use any aluminum utensils. Of course, stay away from mercury, but also glyphosate Roundup. She says destroys this essential molecule. So absolutely try very, very, very hard to eat organic food that has no glyphosate residue. Okay, so start doing that. Then essential minerals or vitamins is B12, iron, of course sulfur, zinc, and then oxygen, so breath work, okay? And then there's this other one, glutathione. It's a glutathione. It's a type of antioxidant. Now you can order that, and I'm going to show you. You can order that antioxidant. Our body really needs that to protect the molecule. And I'm going to show you another supplement you can get that's sulfur. Okay, this product here too. Okay, I take this premium MSM supplement, and it's a crystal that you can dissolve in water. Sulfur is not toxic because our body uses it so much. So if you take too much sulfur, you might get a little bit of diarrhea. But this is essential to help your body detoxify. So what I'm also doing is I'm coupling this regime with intermittent fasting, okay? To detox my body as much as possible. And I think that that's what the message is. And so I've also ordered, this is something else she explained, is these sulfates, these negative charged ions, are so essential because our red blood cells must maintain a negative charge in order to flow through the veins and capillaries, okay? And so this is also what causes high blood pressure, a deficiency of sulfur. And so she said that what they've discovered is because if the blood can't flow, you die. So it's critical. So the body will cannibalize other organs, the brain. They found a link with this to Alzheimer's, wherever there is sulfates. Okay, if there's a store of sulfates in these different organ systems and a deficiency of sulfates in the blood, it will take those sulfates to keep the blood flowing. Okay, so what I'm wondering is, because the nitric oxide is what's needed. So if there's not enough nitric oxide, the veins don't expand, which restrict the blood, which would send a signal to pirate or cannibalize sulfates from other parts of the body. So I've ordered the supplement. I'm going to start taking a small dose just to see, because what I wonder is if we can take the nitric oxide to help the blood flow, so then the body won't be in a survival state with a deficiency of sulfates and can relax and then not pirate the sulfates, because sulfur is needed in every single cell of our body. That's how essential it is. Okay? And what I wonder going back to my dream is, in the video, I'll link it. In fact, she speaks so quickly, you need to almost go down to 0.75 speed because she gives a lot of powerful information. The mitochondria of the cell. Okay, there's a little place where the cell makes the energy. It's a little separate place. And I'm pretty sure she said that also needs a negative charge and is related to our longevity, our health, our vigor. And so I think in my dream, my subconscious, which manages my body, was showing me that my cells are too cluttered, okay, and that little separate room I went into that had the little furnace that wasn't making enough energy was my mitochondria. And the young girl was like a representation of my youthful vitality. And wow, that's like so cool. And I wanted to share that with you. And so just immediately getting sun on the skin will help our body process the sulfur into sulfate. And you can eat broccoli, garlic, onions, and liver. Okay, those are good sources of dietary sulfur if you can't get the supplement I showed you. And I recommend all these things so we can be ready to process any surges of energy from the earth. And the other thing is grounding. Okay, so physically touching the earth with your bare feet if you can stand. And what that does is it equalizes the positive and negative charge in our body to be synchronized with the planet. Okay, and the earth, the physical earth, tends to be more of a negative charge in comparison to the air or the atmosphere tends to be a slightly positive charge. And I wonder if that's what I was feeling when I told the story about being smudged, is if the negative, if my body was synchronizing with the planet, the energy system, and that the negative charge coming to my heart and then the positive charge, you know. So I wanted to share all that with you, and yeah, and I'll link the video below, and I cannot stress enough. I think the importance of absolutely optimizing our health at this time is essential. Oh, one more thing. This. Okay, so if we have deficiencies, okay, this is quercetin, and it is a plant nutrient, and this one I like to take because it's like processed, so it helps. Now this nutrient helps the minerals and all the nutrients we take in to more easily enter into the cells, okay? Because it's not as easy as we think for our body to digest, and especially if our system is clogged up and we've got too much toxins in the cells. So you can take this in whenever you take your supplements, okay, or when you eat, and it will just help those nutrients get in, even the sulfur probably, and then it will help your body detoxify quicker. So I hope that's helpful, and please share any comments or feedback, and I probably won't be able to go back to the ruins until the river breaks, and I really look forward to it. So fortunately, they bulldozed the site, so this huge swath is already excavated. It's right there at the surface, so we don't even have to dig, which is amazing. So, all right, my friends, take care. Bye-bye.